Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journal channel. Today we're going to be looking at altering magazine collage by adding some additional details. So I'm starting off on my page and I'm playing with my new gloss sprays. This is sky with a little bit of turquoise in it. I had the red in the background as well. And I'm just sponging off some of the blue colours so I can still see some of that red in the background. I also decided to splatter some red over the top. I love the combo of bluey turquoisey reds in the background. And you do need to be a little bit careful when you're splattering red, but because I knew it was in the background, I wasn't particularly concerned with how that ended up looking. And I thought I'd have a good contrast between the blue and red in the background with just a really plain border of black and white. So I've just used some washi tape to put a little bit of a border in. And then I have this really cool dress that I got from an art magazine, which is a very Andy Warhol dress, you know, with the Campbell soup on it, which I really loved, which again fitted in really nicely with my background. So I decided, because the dress was so small, I wanted to make quite a big focus head. So I've stuck my magazine image down, and now all I'm doing is actually drawing on the hair. So I could have done this on the page with paint or with black paint markers, Posca, I couldn't remember the name of it, but I decided if I drew it onto some cardboard I could cut it out so it still looked like it was collaged on, and it gave it a bit more of a seamless look. So I'm going in, after I've drawn it out with permanent marker, with a white marker, just to give a bit of an outline to it. I also decided that I'd draw a little bit onto her face, so she's got a little bit of a bang coming into her face as well, and then going back and fixing it up with a white paint pen. My paint pen was dying a little bit, so I have bought a whole heap of new paint pens, so hopefully I get a better white line. Once I've done that, I'm just going to fussy cut it out and stick it on. So you could do that onto normal paper. I just did it onto cardboard because I had some sitting around that worked. It's probably a good idea to size it up first to make sure it actually fits on. I was lucky that it wasn't too big, but even if I'd cut off sort of the top bit of her hair, it wouldn't have been too much of an issue. So once I've finished gluing everything down, then I go around the outside of my collage or my magazine with my black pen, and you can see there the difference it makes. It just pops it out from the background, gives it a bit more detail. It kind of turns it into a little bit of a 2D cartoony type image in the fact that it sort of flattens it out a little bit. You can also go in and add, we can add anything you want to it. I decided I wanted to add stripy stockings, so again sort of going with that red to highlight what was going on in the background with the black as well. And it also picks up what is on her dress. And then going around and giving some highlights with some white pen too. So you'll notice one of the first things I did when I was gluing this down was to actually put that little bit of an island on the page, and that's to ground my figure so she's not floating in the air. The borders help with that somewhat because they give you sort of a natural place to stand your figures, but having the little islandy shape cut out helps that too. Now I deliberately sort of planned where I was going to put her head, or chose the head that I was going to put on this page, because I had cut that circle out to frame the man on the page before. So I wanted to have, when you flip it over, that you could sort of see her face through or his face through the burlap. And it's a good way, I'm not too bad with the burlap most times, but sometimes it's just too difficult. So if I could do something simple on it, I do. And cutting out a circle to frame another page behind it is a really good way to do that. The burlap takes the gloss sprays really well, so you can always lay a stencil over the top of it and just give it a spritz with the gloss sprays, and you can get decoration on it fairly easily. So now I'm going in and writing a quote on my page. This one's quite a long quote. You'll notice when I was writing it out I made a mistake, so I just used my wet wipe to wipe it off. I do write in paint pen, and I wrote with a fine paint pen first, and now once I've got the spacing right, I'm going back with my thicker pen and widening up the letters. So you can see that it becomes more of a focus on the page. And usually when I'm doing magazine collages like this, I tend to have a quote on one side or a statement, and then I do some journaling on the other side about, you know, what that quote means to me, or why I put it on the page, or what have you. In most cases, when I do magazine collage, like the previous page that you can see there, the video should be up of that one, they're a little bit snarky. I think this one's actually more about growth and change and so on, because that's where my mind is at the moment. So I like the fact that you can sort of echo what you're doing or what's happening in your life on this. So once I've finished, I just dry off my paint pen. The paint pens dry pretty quickly, but it's always good to just make sure it's 100% dry before you put your hand back over it again. And then I'm just going in and putting some highlights on the letters, which is a bit hard to see, especially when it's so small, but it really does pop it out from the background as well. It gives you a bit of a focus, and it's a really great way of sort of saving your fonts or saving your writing. If it is a little bit dark or something of the same color, you can put a contrasting color next to it and really make your writing the focus. So it just depends on what you want your focus to be, whether it's the background or whether it's the text. If you obviously want it to sort of blend into the background a little bit more, don't do this step. And once I finish that, I'll then do my quote on the other, or not my quote, sorry, my journaling on the other side. And usually for my journaling, I just draw some wavy, wonky lines and then write in the spaces. And I just find that a really easy way to go. So you'll see they're not straight. I'm just using the white pen. The white pen will mostly disappear in the background. It's just for me to have a bit of an idea of what I'm doing. And when I'm writing, I use the whole space, so they're all different sizes. I tend to write in block letters, but sometimes I'll mix it up. But what happens is you end up getting almost like you've just done Z-tangling in the background. While you can read the journaling, it sort of ends up as a pattern in the background. So it's a good way, not necessarily to disguise your journaling, but it makes it look like part of the image. So when we see text on a page, we tend to want to read it straight away. You can obviously see on this page that the quote is where I want people to read, and if people really want to go back and read my journaling, that's fine, but it sort of blends in a little bit more than the other side. This is a picture of the whole page. So when you're doing your magazine collaging, have a think about, what can I add on? If it doesn't have a hat or if it doesn't have hair, what can you do? What can you draw on? What can you add on to help finish your image so you're happy with it? So I hope you have a go at doing this. Until next time, bye for now.